All right. Uh, Good evening to everyone in the States, and good afternoon to everyone in Asia, afternoon slash morning. Today we'll just be getting started. I'll be going over comments and like conversations that we had in Discord over the last couple of days. Just gonna kind of run through them. There's actually been more activity in the last couple of days, so there are a bunch of chat messages that I haven't really caught up on, so I'm going to start with that. And then if there's any questions in the chat, I'll swing back around to those afterwards. Only Water, what's up? Good to see you again. And yeah, I guess and it's literally 1 week left until the December SAT. So I hope everyone's studies are going productively and as intended. There were some really good questions though in Discord, so I hope to be able to address some big concerns in the next hour. All right, so here we go. Let's get started. And by the way, welcome everyone to the like. There's been a lot of people joining the server in the last couple of days, so just welcome if you've been active recently. Excuse me. And maybe you remember Only Water slash viewers. Maybe you remember me being sick for the last week. I'm finally like 90% recovered. I'm still a little bit like 10%. Still, my throat is a little scratchy. I cough every once in a while, but I'm basically back to normal. So I'm pretty solid now. I'm just gonna take a quick scan. Oh yeah, this I remember this. Let me think. How would I explain my thought process to a child trying to leverage the Feynman technique? So I think this is a good approach, and it's just generally, I think this student is going the right direction, but is maybe making it a little too hard on himself. I'm gonna guess Nyat Ming is a dude's name. I think that's a dude's name. uh, anyway, so um, you wouldn't really need to make it that hard on yourself because it's not easy to explain something you're learning and also to simplify it at the same time. That's like really hard. The first thing to do is just to be able to explain it. You want to start by challenging yourself to be able to explain it to just one of your peers, or to, if you have literally zero friends, I guess you can imagine yourself and try to explain it to yourself, right? But you should, guys, if you have zero friends, there's a lot of there's a lot of underlying issues there. You should have some friends. Like, imagine actually explaining the problem to friends first, and then if you really want to become more sophisticated on that particular issue, like if you want to, like, if basically you want to start competing with me, like teachers, then you want to then you could go ahead and sort of permit yourself to try to simplify it down to the level of explaining it to a child. But like, that is realistically not the first step. You should not, right out of the gate, you should not try to explain it as if you were talking to a child. You would actually probably you'd probably create oversimplifications if you did it that way, actually. So I wouldn't say that's the right approach. I'm gonna type that out really quickly, so give me a moment. Um, Actually, does the minute count show up? Okay. Okay, Loadster, you're nervous. It is the last one, so yeah, good luck with with the studies. And if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. I'm gonna go over to the Discord chats that I've missed. Let me go. Um, oh, I read a good. There was a good poem recently. Hang on. What was it? Ah, what? Which book was that? Oh man, which book was that? Sorry, I have a poem in my head and I want to find it. No, I forgot the name of the freaking book. Not the Western Canon. Oh, first poem in How to Read and Why, Harold.
It's occurred to me several times in these last weeks. Slowly appears because mad and sometimes the genuinely inspiring throttled her and smashed her head upon a rock. In his excitement and exultation to a dramatic voice, when both like, but that would be their judgment and not female evil tempteth my better angel from my side and would corrupt my saint to be a Twain, Hemingway, Scott,
Ah, dude,
the world.
okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to remember a line from that poem and then find it. All right, I'm gonna come back to that later. Um, it's just I fucking love it when Harold Bloom reads a poem. He's the best. So, um, because he actually Harold Bloom reads poems better than poets read poems. So, anyway, it's just going through the poetry channel. I just got reminded of it suddenly. All right. Right, so I dropped this for a bit. Jay, I see your question. I'll come back to that after I get through the Discord chats. So Narin is saying that. So Narin's an interesting case. Okay, let me start over here. He did two practice tests. I'm gonna guess Narin's a he, but can I? She? I'm just gonna. I'll say they. They did two practice tests the past few days and got 41, 43 out of 52. So what's that? That's like minus 10. So that's like somewhere like seven, like that's like three, what, like 330-ish, depending on which practice test. Uh, Never got above 40 questions right, but now is staying above 40. How do you improve from around 330 to 400? A lot of the time, outside of the practice tests, they are trying to find right answers before looking at the answers. This is a really good. This is really good practice, by the way. So you, this is something I talked about before, so I'm not gonna do the long version. The short version is it's better to not look at the answers right away when you're trying to review a practice test. Okay, you really want to go over the practice test one more time without knowing the answers and try to see if you can correct your own answers first. Okay, with unlimited time. That's a lot better than just relying on or leaning on the answer key to just tell you what the answers are. Rereading tough passages also really good because that actually builds up your reading ability. If you don't reread the passages to understand it, your reading will simply not improve. Okay, maybe a tiny bit from passive learning, but it's not. Your reading will simply not improve. At least it will not improve in any sort of noticeable way. So you want to reread the passage. You want to be able to map the passage. So that's really good. And comparing those maps with my maps, even I think I'm gonna guess that this is pretty useful. Not a lot of people have directly told me they do this, so I am curious if you do this, how the results have been for you. If it feels like it's worth it, if it feels like it's too much work, like how valuable is it to you? I'm gonna guess that it's pretty valuable to compare the way that you are mapping a passage to the way that I'm mapping a passage, but yeah, I can't be 100% sure. And then reading random a push readings and writing summaries. Okay, so that's just supplementary. Not really missing anything. I mean, it's that's good preparation, and I would say that's just give me a second. Is my internet like failing right now? Is that a problem? Let me just check. No, it seems like it should be fine. Huh. I'm seeing like a I'm seeing like a error message, kind of annoying. But okay, I'm just gonna move on. So anyway, from what I've seen so far, this Naren is not really missing anything as far as I can tell, unless Naren is maybe like not thoroughly reviewing the answer choices, but that would be a little unusual, right? Most students are pretty thorough with the reviewing the answers. So I would say stunting the growth. I mean, I guess the first hypothesis is this person is not really analyzing the answer choices. Okay, again, that's very unlikely, but that is a possible hypothesis. Another hypothesis is their vocabulary, their maps of the passage is just bad. Like their maps of the passage are like not sensitive to the structure of scientific papers or whatever, or something like that. That could just be happening. From 330 to 400, honestly, it's gonna be a lot of little skills at this point. It's not like usually there's not like one obvious thing. So I'm not like it's actually this is sort of a puzzle for me as well. Now, I did wonder about time management, and then Naren said, no, already have that internal clock, um, but does not come back to circled answers. Unanswered. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's okay, sure. So, I mean, that's just a it's more a matter of preference at this point with this kind of thing. I tend to prefer lightly bubbling in an answer, even if I'm moving, even if I'm just guessing. I tend to prefer just lightly bubbling it and then coming back to it afterwards um, to to maybe change the answer or to just confirm that answer. But that part is really up to you. If you've never tried just lightly bubbling and moving on, I think you might notice that lightly bubbling might make you feel more comfortable. It's like, oh, at least I have an answer though, right? And you can move on. And also, it decreases the likelihood that you accidentally mismatch the bubbles to your answers. Like, when you put the answer for 13 on 12 and then the answer for 14 on 13, the answer, that whole thing, you can avoid by lightly bubbling. Yeah, it felt like they were doing it the proper way. Um, well, I'm a little confused by don't see any improvement because didn't you just say you started leaping you above 4052, please. Um, so this premise is a little confusing to me, but here's what I'll say. It's My guess is Naren just needs to keep doing more of what they're already doing. Assuming that Naren is thoroughly double checking the choices. Answer choices A, B, C, D for all their questions, right and wrong, not just the wrong ones. Okay, and just being able to fully explain every single answer choice with clear logic that holds up, and that if you were to explain those answer choices to other people, they would also be persuaded that it makes sense. Ideally, a smart person. You don't want to be able to explain an answer choice to the dumbest person around you, because it's easy for them to just sort of agree. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, you're the smarter one, so I'll just agree, right? But you want actually somebody who's a little picky, who's a little maybe a little aggressive, and you want to be able to persuade that person with your reasoning. If you can't do that, you didn't really understand. Like, you might have gotten the answer right, but you didn't really understand it. You kind of got lucky. So you want to, I guess, do that. Uh, and you can actually literally do it. You can study. You can partner up, and even in our server, you can find study partners, and you can partner up and do it. Or you can just kind of simulate doing it in your head. Obviously, doing it for real with an actual person is going to be more effective. But like, it's hard sometimes to coordinate everything with the time and whatnot. So you might find it easier to just, generally speaking, just try to simulate those explanations, and then every once in a while actually do it with somebody, right? So, but besides that, I mean, what else could you really do? You could keep improving the map of the passage, because maybe your reading's the issue, or you could keep improving your explanations for the answer choices, because maybe your reasoning is the issue. But I can't really think of anything else to do besides just do more of it. Just keep going. I mean, it seems like your Naren's already making progress, so I would just keep doing it. Let me know if you have other opinions on this, if you have any disagreements on this. But I think it's pretty clear that Naren's basically on the right path. I just realized that I didn't update this, so it's SAT-urday. I know it's lame. Uh, I don't want it to. I don't want it to break. All right, there we go. So yeah, I just need to fix this title here. Let me see. Let's go to the next question. And by the way, I did see whoever said hi. You deleted it, I guess, but hi. I'll just quickly summarize what I wrote, which was um, try to be able to. Um, And this writing this out made me think of one other thing, which is that a lot of times you guys will get tutors and you'll pay money for tutors, but if you let the tutor explain everything to you, and you're not the one doing the explaining to the tutor, okay? I'm going to say this one more time. If the tutor is the one doing all the explaining, it's not you doing the explaining, you are missing out. You are wasting money. Okay. One of the reasons why you should get a tutor is not. One of the reasons why you should get a tutor is so that you can explain your thinking to that person and confirm that it's correct. Okay, if you're doing it the other way around, where you're just trying to hear their explanations and you're trying to ape it, you're trying to imitate it, you're trying to sort of like, you're trying to feed your data, you're trying to get like your training data and you're just feeding your chat GPT brain on it. I mean, you'll be okay. You'll kind of learn what's probably supposed to be the right answer statistically. You know what I mean? Like ChatGPT knows probably what the next word is, given a particular topic or whatever. But like, it's not actually thinking, and you're not actually thinking, right? It's not until you actually do the explanations that you're properly learning. So, if you are employing a tutor right now, I recommend being taking a step forward and actually trying to explain the answers to your tutor before your tutor just starts blabbing away. ChatGPT brain, yeah, ChatGPT brain. Can I show my keyboard? I mean, I could, but no. I don't even know. Who are you, bro? Like, what's wrong with you? All right, just gonna go. So we got the follow up here. Oh, I'll just mention this. I think I mentioned this last stream, so I'm not gonna say too much. But if you want to find all the linear PDF questions that are not in the Blue Book, here are the instructions for how to do that. You can actually filter specifically the non-Blue Book linear PDF questions for the digital SAT. ChatGPT is really bad at SAT. Hang on, let me figure this out. What's going on here? Do we all think that as a result is the correct choice? I have brain fog. Okay, let's look. Through an evolutionary adaptation, the eyes of some species of fish. So I'm looking at this Times New Roman font and I'm like, this is definitely not like what's this fucking Times New Roman? Dude, what the hell, dude? Anyway, whoever wrote this, it's not College Board. So, sorry, it's the first thing I noticed. The upper pupil is adapted for vision in air. That's interesting. While the lower half, which is the half of the pupil, is adapted for vision in water. These four-eyed fish excel at hunting insects that live on the water surface. But thanks to the eyes. So as a result makes sense, but this doesn't it makes sense out of the four answer choices. For instance, doesn't work. Similarly, doesn't work. However, yeah. So it makes sense, but it's just not a good I guess the insects are on the surface, so the vision and it's just a little unintuitive what the reason it's just not really fully explained, and so it makes it a little fuzzy. But I mean, as a result is the only answer choice you can go for in this particular example. So yeah, just gotta choose it. And then as a result seems right. Yeah. Is but yeah, it's just a little the reasoning behind the adaptations in the eyes and the hunting of insects on the surface is pretty straightforward. But the writing, as a result of the adaptations, because as a result of the adaptation, so see, the thing is that these adaptations were things that happened in the past, and then suddenly talking about the present, it just feels a little janky. It's not wrong, but it just feels like it doesn't feel like smooth writing. And I don't really know how else to explain that right now, but it's just it feels janky to me. I'm gonna guess it feels janky to you guys too a little bit. It's not the worst, but yeah, it's not particularly elegant. That said, the College Board will sometimes write a little bit, like sometimes the sentences can be a little jank, and you just sort of have to accept it, because not all English is perfectly written. So you kind of just roll with it. The explanation here. By the way, I will come back around to the questions in the chat, but none of these questions are directly related to what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'll scoop them up at the end. We're pretty close to the end, though. I mean, there's only a couple more channels to go through. Here we go. Meltzer book. I read this. I'll just let you guys read it really quickly. But this time we do need to consider the two halves of the sentence, where the transition appears. So this is like a little cut from a previous example. As always, we cross out the transition. They have a thick layer of fat. Therefore, yeah, thanks to this fat, they're able to tolerate cold water. Therefore is also awkward. As a result is doable. But yeah, cause and effect words, sure. For, when used this way, means because. So that's weird because you wouldn't use a conjunction between two sentences on a digital SAT question. But I guess, yeah, you could say healthy Arctic marine mammals have a thick layer of fat beneath the skin, comma, so they are able to tolerate cold water, or period. As a result, or due to this fat, they are able to tolerate cold water. You can go either way, but you wouldn't use for, because for would be the other way around. For they are able to tolerate cold water means because they're able to tolerate cold water, they have a thick layer of fat. That makes no sense. That's backwards. Yeah. So what's the question here? You don't have skin because yeah, this is correct. It's not like yeah. Okay. So I think that's it for writing. Uh oh, dude, elevate. I'll come back to you in a bit. Is this interview? Okay, interview. People are talking about interviews. This is old. This is just randomly what I shared. People are talking about ECs for something. I don't fully know what's going on here, but this is old. This is not old. Give me a sec. What is this? Beautiful book. RSM? Oh, just okay, cool. Yeah, that's just nerds being nerds. Cool. Okay. And guys, I know it can be kind of awkward, just like uh, sending an invitation to the void, but somebody has to start. So if you need peer tutors or just like accountability partners, uh, or just yeah, or just study partners, like go for it, guys. Maybe I should like rename this, but yeah, the uh, the Okay, yeah. So if you have ideas for the server, like I can't right now managing the server is not my top priority, but for like low effort things, I'm happy to quickly make like small quality of life improvements. So like for example, recently somebody asked me to get that LaTeX bot. I forget what it's called, but you can actually type formulae formulae into Discord using that bot. So yeah, so I just installed that bot. Thank you whoever came up with that idea. Yeah, but I'm happy to improve the server if you have any ideas. All right, so that's Discord. I'll come back. Let's go through. I'm gonna go through the chats. Let's see. I'll go bottom up. Uh, I don't know. Just gonna switch it up. Maybe that's more natural. LaTeX is nice. Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was in college and I was learning LaTeX for the first time, I was like, dude, I feel so legit, right? Because in high school, you never, at least not in public high school, not when I was attending. Um, I never learned LaTeX in high school. There were a bunch of kids, like math genius kids, who already knew it before, which made me feel very behind. But it was really cool just be able to like type it all out instead of having to write it out on paper. So if you ever want to feel like if you ever want an additional like side quest, go learn some LaTeX. Um, you finished Elevate. You finished the first passage in 11 minutes, but you choked and things went downhill. Yeah, I mean, Elevate. I would just kind of refer you back to the videos that I have and the general advice that I have, which is you have to accept that. Let's say that you're actually getting a 330 um, out of 400 for the reading. You have to accept that if you're gonna get three, if you're gonna improve, you're not trying to get 52 out of 52. You're actually trying to get 40. You're probably at like 40, like 42 out of 52, right? And what you're trying to do is get 44 out of 52, which means that you're actually allowed to, quote unquote, allowed to get eight wrong. So you shouldn't sacrifice the third, fourth, and fifth passage, the third, fourth, and fifth passages on like one or two of the really hard questions in the second passage. It's not rational. It's not rational. It's not cool. It's not the right calculation to sacrifice time on the third, fourth, and fifth passages just for question 13 and 16, right? Or 13, 14. So you got to learn to like let go. And by letting you go, you'll actually have a better performance overall. Okay. So the video I'm talking about is pacing, SAT, reading, Sol. Yeah, this one. Okay, so it's actually the three-part question. Let me read. How to pace yourself on SAT reading. Okay. So that's the video I would recommend. I'm getting really cold right now because I didn't turn the heater on. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. Cold. Okay. So let's go back up to 2000. Damn it, dude. That's rough. That's rough, dude. Rest in peace, $2,000. I hope that tutor is using it on good things. But that's kind of like I'm honestly, most kids do not look up anything on YouTube. So the experience that you're going through is actually, if anything, on the luckier side of things, right? It's like at least you actually found other resources. Most kids don't. They just kind of do what their parents signed them up for, or they just kind of accept the 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 givens, right? That they don't really question what is given. It's just like, yeah, I guess everyone just gets tutoring, so I'll get tutoring. So I would, in a like viewed a different way, you're kind of lucky that you kind of realize you don't have to spend $1,000 or $4,000, right? So try to keep that in mind. I'm just gonna scroll back up a little bit to see if there's any other questions. And you're mentioning a specific company, but I'm not gonna, I mean, tutors are tough, dude, because it's such a personal job. So it's hard to find a good tutor, is what I'll say. Um, are you familiar with Khan Academy? So Darren Pinto is asking if I'm familiar with Khan Academy reading passages. Real, it's been a long time since I saw Khan Academy for the paper SAT. And I don't remember. Have I seen them? Have I seen? I mean, because there's so much. There's honestly, Darren. There's so much practice material that you don't have to use Khan Academy. You could just use the QASs. Darren, do you know what I'm talking about when I say QAS? Like the 2023 March, right? The 2022 October, the 2019 April. That you can actually get those PDFs. Okay, so if you just Google or search Reddit for it, you should be able to find the QASs. So go for that. Because you don't really need to use the Khan Academy when you already have like basically 50 practice tests that you can just use. The Only Water J is asking, by the way, what was the context of the song with me in the photo? The song with me in the photo. Oh, this one. Um, this this is, well. First, I realized from a comment that people didn't fully understand what this joke was about. December SAT takers, y'all are frozen fish compared to past cohorts. I just realized it's actually not clear what I mean. You can kind of infer it from the end here, but I wasn't actually. I was a little. I wrote this in a rush. Now that I think about it, but basically, I said. How will you get any help if you don't ask? Right. I said, I'm basically saying that the December SAT test takers are not very active in the server or in my comment section. So just talk. I was just encouraging you guys to talk. And this is an example of me walking the walk, because this was like, I don't know, like a couple of weeks ago, I met some random dudes at a bar. There was a married couple. You can't actually see their faces, but anyway, yeah, there was a married couple. They're very amazing, friendly Irish couple, and met some bunch of other people along the way, and we ended up going to a karaoke and singing and drinking, and then taking this picture. So that was just to reinforce the idea of just talk to people, like, guys, you're not gonna, no one's gonna hurt you, right? You can just, and the worst thing that happens is you can ask for help and then nobody helps you, right? That's the worst thing that can happen. So if you're stressed out studying for the December SAT and you feel like you're doing it alone, or you feel like you're going through all these questions, and you're trying to analyze them on your own and everything, but it feels inefficient, right? And you want some help, just come to the server and just chat with people. Like, I'm not the one, I can't be there for you all the time, but you can find other people who are in the same boat as you, and you can partner up. So that's basically the gist here. Darren has been using QAS, but for quick prep, you've been using Khan. I mean, if that's the case, I think that makes sense, by the way. I applaud the sort of multimodal study plan that you got going on. I do have to, excuse me, I do have to double check the SAT for the fall 2023. Yeah, I have to check the passages. I'm going to say, generally speaking, Khan Academy is pretty accurate, generally, but let me just go and see an actual passage real quick. Oh yeah, I mean it's been a while, but if galaxies are all moving apart, how can they collide? 2009 BLO, more often than not, they're forming by mergers. I like this little turn of phrase here. Business language used in scientific context. Dark energy believed to be causing the acceleration and expansion of the universe, or force that does not dilute as you expand, pitted against the relentless push, gravitational pull from the rest of it. Yeah, I think the difficulty of I would say this is not, right now I'm just reading this, it doesn't feel like the most difficult passage to read. So, but I do get the vibe of like, this feels like a decently made it doesn't seem too complex for this particular passage, but just given like the logical relationship between the two, given how much the title is helping, and just reading. Oh, this looks a little easy. Oh, wait, which of the following choices suggest that the universe is expanding? Well, I'm gonna guess B because I didn't really read it, but oh, what? Sorry, there's a minor technical issue on a different window, but anyway, but yeah, drew together to form clusters. If there have been more matter around, but matter dilute as volume increases, has on average been accelerating. I'm gonna guess, yeah. No, I guess this is not necessarily the super easy. You just need to figure out what it's talking about here. Yeah, I didn't actually read it, so yeah, it seems doable. Okay. So, no, I would say this seems pretty reasonable, reasonably similar to the actual SAT. The one thing that I'm finding suspicious as I'm reading all this is that there's not a lot of answer choices that are long. So that is one thing. I feel like on the paper SAT, you'll usually see like one question or one question where the question stem is like super long, or where the answer choices are long. And I don't see any of that in these 11 questions right now. But I mean, maybe just go through the other questions and you'll see it. So for now, my quick impression is that it's pretty accurate. All four, 700, 680. What skills? Dude, there's no way for me to know just from that. Can you you're still getting, so what's it? You're still getting, like, how there's 27 questions per module, like after question 15-ish, it switches to grammar, you're still making mistakes in the second half, right? The writing half of the test, right? You're making mistakes on the writing half of the test. I would prioritize that first, especially since you only have 1 week. Like if you are missing any, like if there's any concepts that you are missing, if there's any knowledge that you are lacking regarding grammar, and regarding like those logical transitions and whatnot, you have to fill that up first, okay? Because that's your bread and butter. Okay, that's the easiest part of the test, so make sure you're not making any mistakes there. That'll be my general tip. You have to be a little bit more specific though if you want more specific advice from me. Um, so I'm scrolling back up and just seeing what else is there. Uh, Loadster says, or said, I don't know if Loadster is still here, but Loadster earlier said that he's taking the December SAT. This. Oh wait, hang on. I want to check something. Can I scroll in the? Hang on. Oh no, I can't scroll. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, I was just trying to figure out if that would work. Um, anyway, because I'm scrolling on a different window, but you guys can't see what I'm where I'm reading, so that's why I was checking. Loadster says he likes the focus analogy. Loadster, can you remind me of the focus analogy? Like, if you're still here, I'm kind of curious what that analogy was because I don't know what that is. Um, when you trace, you pretend the first letter is in bold. Is that a good idea? I mean, if you look, if you're doing something and if you immediately feel the focus happening, then yeah, do it. Um, you don't need to confirm through some third party like Saul, or you don't need to confirm with anyone else in the world whether a thing that you are doing is helping you feel more focused. If that feeling is actually happening to you at that moment, just keep doing it, right? And maybe one day in the future, the effect will wear off where you no longer feel that feeling anymore because I don't know, because maybe like your reading abilities and like your grammatical parsing has like advanced to the point that you no longer need it. Okay, then you can drop it then. But for now, you're getting basically a free caffeine boost from just doing that. From just what did you say? You pretend the first letter of of a word is in bold, right? And if that helps you in that moment, just keep doing it. Like, why would you not do it? It's for free. You don't know. It doesn't cost you anything to do it. So take as many as you can. Uh, and Jay is lacking on English. Sorry, bro. I guess you gotta practice. But let me know what your like. You can tell me if you elaborate a little bit more on what your problem is. I can be a little more specific. Um, Arav G said, oh no, I already answered, right? I did answer. So back to Elevate. For my map of the passage, do I have the map of the passage during the test? No. What I don't know what you mean by map of the passage now, because what I mean by map of the passage is basically a mental outline of how the passage is structured, right? So for me, when I talk about the map, like my map of the passage is, um, it's not something that you can necessarily see. It's just in my head. And then for the purposes of my stream, I will pause the test timer in order to explain everything that's in my head. But obviously in the real test, the map of the passage, like I'm not going to explain my map of the passage to anyone. I don't have the time. So it's just the picture that I have in my head The top left is scientific background with some sort of disagreements on what's the true cause of this particular phenomenon. And then the middle of the left column is where we get this recent hypothesis that was overturned. But then the bottom of the first column was where we finally get the newest hypothesis, the one that we're actually examining. And then the top right is where we get the the fucking the experiment methodology or whatever, and then the results. It comes out in one tiny paragraph. They do it in like a super rush, so it's like usually you would expect that part to be much longer, but it's only one tiny paragraph. And then the remainder of the entire second column is all just significance with like three different groups of scientists and their commentary on this result, right? That's what when I say map of the passage, that's basically what I mean. Like some version of what I just said, that's the map of the passage. So I just know where the information is and how it's structured, what the sequence is, right? And that's what you want to do. So I wouldn't revise or anything. There's no specific step for revising, but I revise it along the way. Like if I realize that I misunderstood something, then I will fix my map of the passage in my head. And that happens more or less instantaneously. It doesn't take time. I'm just fixing my picture of what the passage is actually talking about. Yeah. And so I'm constructing it as I read the passage. Even when I only read one paragraph in the passage, I'm already predicting the rest of the passage and I'm constructing the map of the passage. It's like a jigsaw puzzle at first. It's a little like, I'm not sure where all the pieces are going to go, but I get the general picture first. I get the edges first, and then I start fleshing it out. And usually when I finish that passage, I don't have the whole jigsaw puzzle already filled in. I just have, the big pieces, the big outlines out. And then when I go into the questions, sometimes I realize more specific things about what the passage is saying. So then I can flesh that part of the passage out even more. But I'm basically always constructing as I'm doing it. That said, I do not rush the reading. So I do read like 5 to 7 minutes per passage, right? Depends on the passage. So I don't rush the reading. So usually I have a pretty good map of the passage. Your map of the passage may suffer if you are reading it in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, like a lot of students. So just be aware of this. Lex, do I think that the pause gives me an advantage for my streams? I mean, yeah, probably to some extent, but I don't I don't know, because it's actually tiring. I don't know if there's a benefit in the sense that it gives me some time to process what just happened, but it's not as much of a benefit as you might think, because literally all I'm doing is restating what I already know, right? So it doesn't benefit me that much, but I guess there's probably some residual effect where it helps me structure my thoughts a little bit. And then the cost, there's a huge cost, which is that it's actually super tiring. Dude, those streams were exhausting. Just taking a test is perfectly fine. I can take a 65-minute reading test, no problem. But doing it while thinking out loud, while explaining my map of the passage, and oh my god, that was so tiring. So tiring. So, I don't know. I don't know how much it benefits me, but I will say that I'm gonna guess that I perform better when I'm not streaming. You know what I mean? I perform better on the tests when I don't have to talk and I don't have to do the map of the passage explanation and everything. It's so painful to talk while doing it. Yeah, I would bet that my average number of mistakes is going to be lower if I didn't do all of that stuff. As in my score would be higher. Because, QASs, I mean, I show you all my mistakes, so you guys can see when I get like a 770 or whatever, right? You guys can see my worst performances as well, and that comes. I'm not gonna blame just the explanations. Sometimes I'm just like not in a good condition. Maybe I don't know. Sometimes I'm just dumb sometimes. But yeah, yeah, the having to talk the whole time, that definitely doesn't help. Hedwig panics when he has or she has 5 minutes left. Start picking. Yeah, that's Hedwig. You definitely need to watch this. But you're just not managing. Like if there's 5 minutes left and you have 5 questions left, dude, your mistake wasn't in the first in your that's the mistake isn't the rushing. The mistake is the first 60 minutes, right? The entire first 60 minutes. Out of the first 60 minutes, you probably spent 10 minutes on like 2 questions. Okay, not 2, sorry. That's exaggerated. You probably spent 10 minutes on 3 questions. Like questions, I don't know, 13 and 22 and 37, okay? On questions 13 and 22 and 37, you spent 10 minutes and you still got them wrong because they were the hardest questions in the entire test. And you were never going to get them right in the first place, but you still spent 10 minutes on them. That was your mistake, right? So the rushing at the end of answering 5 questions in 5 minutes or whatever, that's just the best choice that you can make at that moment because you already fucked it up on questions 13 and 37 and 22 or whatever, right? You already fucked it up by wasting 10 minutes on those 3 questions. So, I mean, the lesson there is not to like, I don't know, breathe deep or whatever. Like, that's not the lesson. The lesson is which questions did you waste time on? Figure those out and don't do it again. Like, circle, skip, and return, So this is something I talk about in detail at pacing, SAT, reading, Sol, right? So how do you pace yourself? Just go and watch this video, how to pace yourself, okay? It's kind of weird just seeing my face like that. Anyway, go and watch this video. Okay? Watch this video, and I think it'll give you a better framing of how to like approach this test. No, I do not leave, Darren. I do not leave the main idea for the end because I already have a solid map of the passage when I read the passage. So if anything, it's better to get the main idea first because if there's a problem with the main idea, I want to know it early, right? Because if I read it wrong, and I want to get the main idea sooner, if anything, I would not skip it personally. Now, you can actually see how I actually solve the test just by taking a recent, I don't know. The most recent one that I did was probably March, but did I do that? Did I do that live? I don't remember. Dude, did I not do any of the did I do 0 of the 2023s? Oh, that's not good. Probably should have done that. Okay. Guys, I'm sorry. I've been focusing more on, I have definitely been focusing more on the digital SAT this year. So I guess I don't have March 2023. This probably would have given me a lot of traffic, honestly. Jeez. I just did not do any of these. So now we get all these other guys. Yeah, I probably should have done these. Oh well. Anyway, it's too late now, but yeah, but don't look at March, not the 2023s, but if you go like 2021, right, you'll see mine. The ones that I streamed 2 years ago are probably the worst ones. So 2021 randomly is kind of the one that I started with, but like the one that I streamed 1 year ago, these are usually a little better because I got more into the rhythm of things. I figured out how to do the stream and whatever. So if possible, try to watch the ones from a year ago, not from 2 years ago. But you'll get a general sense of how I actually solve it. I solve the main idea questions right away, and usually they take me like 15 seconds. They don't take me that much time, okay? Because I already read the passage pretty well. Kururu, but if you do read word by word, I think you do remember. So you can't read fast. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. This is something I have said before on stream, and I say this all the time, but basically, the fastest readers are the dumbest people. Okay? The dumber you are, the faster you can read. Because because when you are dumb, you don't have to you are blissfully free of having to make any logical connections between the ideas. You're just sort of like prancing through the daisy fields. La 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 la, a bunch of phonics, a bunch of letters, bunch of words. Yay. And then you read the entire thing and you notice that the word molecules came out 20 times. So then you write in your little book report, this passage was about molecules. And then you just like pick and choose a couple random words and then make some sort of like alphabet soup out of them. These molecules are composed of atoms, right? Like literally the way to read fast is by being dumb. But by being dumb, what you're actually doing on the SAT is you're outsourcing your brain to the future self that has to actually turn that brain on suddenly when you are at question 1. And you're like, what the fuck? It's asking me about the main idea, and I'm confused because two answer choices there's answer choice B and there's answer choice C, and they both use the words molecule and atom. So how am I supposed to choose? You're shit out of luck because you didn't build the logical connections while you're reading. You were doing speed reading. You were doing dumb reading, right? Like there were no logical connections in your head the entire time. So of course you're gonna struggle on question 1. So of course you're gonna skip question 1 and go to question 2, which is some word in context question. And you might know, if you watch my streams, you might know that I actually sometimes answer the word in context question without even looking back at the passage. Has anyone ever noticed that? Sometimes I will look at the word in context question and not even look back at the passage. I'll just answer and move on to question 3, right? But you, for sure, because you built there's no logical map of anything in your head. Now you're actually doing the logical building at minute 4. Okay, at minute 4, you're at question 2, and this is the first time that you're actually realizing that your brain has nerves, has like cells and like nerve endings, and they need to be connected, right? And you're doing that 3 minutes behind me, right? I was doing it already as I was reading. You weren't, and that's why when you read, you actually naturally should be slower. If you are trying to do what I'm doing, you should be slower when you're reading. Not because you're trying to be slow on purpose. It's just that when you're thinking about the meaning, it slows you down naturally, right? So don't artificially sort of slow yourself down. If you're artificially slowing yourself down, you're probably wasting time, but you will naturally slow down because you're building those connections. But the tricky part is finding that sweet spot where you are understanding enough that you can actually recover more time by doing no-look answers and one-look answers in the actual questions. Okay, the goal is to have at least a couple no-look answers, and mostly 5 out of 10 one-look answers per passage, because that way you are saving all that time back, or you're gaining all that time back. Yeah, and annotating gets in the way. Yeah, you don't need to annotate. Any annotation that you do should not feel heavy. Okay, so I strongly urge you guys to do very light pencil markings and very liberal pencil markings. Just if something feels important, don't think about whether it's important or not. Just underline it. Okay, just underline it. But do it very lightly so that it's not too visually distracting, okay? And it's okay to have parts of the passage that are actually not that important, but still underlined because you thought it was important in that moment, but later on you realize it's not that important. It's okay. Who cares? No one's going to grade you for your annotations. Just underline whatever the hell you want to read. Underline whatever the hell you want to underline. Don't make underlining a painful, like a thing that you have to actually, like an additional step. It should come out of you sort of naturally, like kind of like almost impulsively, and it should not require thinking to do. So, yeah, don't let annotations get in the way. And if you just feel that especially for easier passages, you just don't need to annotate at all, go ahead, don't try not annotating. But I would probably guess that doing very gut reaction, instantaneous annotations are probably going to be more helpful than no annotations at all. But I don't know. You have to experiment with it and figure out what's right for you. Okay, because some people have different, people's cognitive processes, the way that you guys are thinking, it changes depending on who you are and your personality. So not everyone should do everything the exact same way that I do it. You'll have to figure out your own way. Chrome drone, will this be a video? I mean, yeah, I don't really take down most of my live streams unless there's like too much personal information that comes out. So yeah, no, this one will be left up. TLDR, read it closely for writing. Yeah, well, especially if you want a perfect. Now, if you don't want a perfect score on the writing, you only want like 40 out of 44. You only want like a 3. What's it? 40 out of 44. That's like 350. If you're happy with a 350 on the writing, then you don't actually have to read. It's fine. It's actually you'll be surprised that like if you take a bunch of hardworking kids, and maybe they start at like 280 for writing, and you teach them all the grammar rules and everything, and you teach them all the patterns. What you'll find is that they get faster and faster and faster. Okay, and they plateau at 350. And then if you actually take them if you want them to actually break through from 350 and get to like 400 on the writing, that's when they actually slow down again. Where for them, previously they were getting 350 in like, hang on, out of 35 minutes? I'm forgetting the paper SAT, it's 35 minutes, right? Yeah. So they're like solving it in they're solving the 4 passages in like 20 minutes, right? And they're getting close to like 350. But then it's when they're finally breaking through at like 370, 380 that they're realizing, oh my God, I actually just need to read. Like I need to know what the hell they're talking about because I'm getting all the main idea, the conclusion, the detail questions wrong, the sequence questions wrong, the sentence order questions wrong. Like I have to actually read. So then they actually slow back down. Now they take like 25 minutes, right, instead of like 20 minutes, sometimes 28 minutes. Or close to 30 minutes. Although for 400 scores, they don't usually take 30 minutes, But anyway, you'll notice that you actually slow down again after you're done with the grammar bits. Okay, so just be aware of that and read and watch how I do it. The way I solve it, I'm literally just reading it, and I barely spend any time on the right side of the page. I spend like 80% of my time just reading, and then just like predicting the answer, and then just choosing my answer, and I come right back to the reading. Like I'm basically reading the entire time. I'm not. It feels it's less solving than you would expect, is what I'm saying. Ali, 670, craft and structure. Wait. You got nothing wrong in all the other ones. You got 670 with nothing wrong on all the other ones. Only craft and structure. That's insane. That is insane. Are you kind of you're kind of exaggerating, right? That's not actually what you mean. So 670 is how many mistakes? That's probably around like what's that like? That's like around 8 mistakes, right? You're telling me you got like 8-ish mistakes all on craft and structure? Oh, well, sounds like you're pretty good at reading, guy. So I would say go back and review all those craft and structure questions. Now, craft and structure is multiple question types. Here, I'll actually show it on the. Here, where are we? Dude, I've been streaming for an hour and 15. I'm actually shocked. I have a lot of energy today, apparently. Give me a sec. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I could just. So craft. These are my questions. Sorry, my bad. Let's get these. Okay. So craft and structure is many question types. It's mostly it's word and context, but there's something that I call analysis, which has part function questions. So part function questions is the one that starts with which best describes the function of the part of the second sentence in the overall structure of the text. It also includes overall structure, obviously, which best describes the overall structure of the text. It also includes main purpose. Main purpose would be which choice best states the main purpose of the text. And I think there's one more. Oh, cross text. Cross text, that is when there's two texts, and then you say, how would one respond to the other? Okay, so those are craft and structure. Now, if you are mostly getting word in context wrong, but not the other ones, then it really could come down to you being, it could be either you have bad vocabulary or you have bad reasoning. But if you are getting all of the other questions right, like literally zero wrong, okay, and you're only getting a couple craft and structure questions wrong, then you probably have good reasoning. Okay, so it's probably your vocabulary that's the weakness. If that is the case, you need to make a personal vocab list. You can use programs like you can use books, you can use pre-made lists, but you need to also simultaneously have your own list for words that you are learning right now. And just come back and keep adding words to that list. And you need to use, don't be dumb and only use these 4 words, okay? Because the main problem might be your vocabulary in, it could literally be biodiversity, right? If you don't know biodiversity, right? If you don't know what conservationism is versus preservation, I think that's like a whole concept. I forget, but like if you know these other terms and you're like if there's any term that you're sort of just kind of like iffy on, like where does that get used? In which context does that get used? Just add them to your list and keep building it out, because because your vocab's the problem. And that's going to take a while. You're not going to improve your vocabulary in 1 week. Okay. Ugh. So I'm actually pretty man. Ali, oh yeah, let's take this let's take this online, I guess. You can share that to the server and people can chat about it. Oh, I'm pretty dead right now. Yeah, I'm pretty dead right now. I'm realizing how much talking I just did. Oh my god. Let me just vibe here for a bit. Yeah, I did just say that, and I lied. I guess I am an Ellen Sao server. I don't remember why, but I think somebody invited me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll check out some other dude's server." But I have literally never said anything there. Kururu, good self correction. Is kururu is what is that like? Is that Japanese? Speaking of Japanese, this is Japanese santori water. Are you Korean by any chance? It kind of sounds like pororo. Oh, dude. Oh my god. I was gonna read a poem at the end, Chinese. Yeah, that does not sound Chinese at all. Kor- 我很饿。Yeah, no. Dude, my brain is blasted. Okay. Um, I was gonna do. Yeah, so the really famous video with the kid who says that he got whatever 800 in 8 minutes on the SAT reading. That actually, um, he's obviously a high schooler who's just or was he's probably like a fully grown adult by now. But he was obviously just a high schooler who was shooting off this video. Partly based on his experience and his knowledge and know-how and wants to share it, but also partly just to see how viral he could make it. And it was super viral. Well, the thing is that his knowledge, his insight is actually pretty. It's good. It's actually kind of. He's just a more. I think. I don't like the problem is he's never like streamed himself actually doing it, so we never know like if he actually does it the way that he says. But I can believe that he does it at least similar to the way that he describes it. Because if he's solving the questions in 8 minutes, that means like 2 minutes per. Let's just say 10 minutes, okay? So if he's solving 2 minutes per passage on the questions, that would be 10 minutes, right? For five passages. Well, 2 minutes, it breaks down to out of 10, 10 questions. That's like, what's that like? 20 seconds times, what, 20 seconds times 10, 200 seconds. Oh, it's like 15 seconds times 10, 150 seconds. Oh, it's like fast. Actually, that's insane, dude. That's actually insane. You would have to have God tier map of the passage for that. You'd have to basically remember all the answers for that. So that's probably just not true. Actually, you couldn't do all of that in 2 minutes. That's insane. I've had some genius kids, and they cannot. There's no way. Like there are kids that I've tutored that I would legitimately be like, damn, dude. I mean, I was pretty fucking smart as a kid, but like, damn, like I think I was smarter. Like so, current Saul is definitely dumber than 18 year like early 20 Saul. And early 20 Saul I think was probably peak Saul in terms of just like my the speed of my thinking. And then but then sometimes I'll have like these genius kids who are just like, dude, I don't think I could have like I think you would like fucking like like mowed me over if we competed when I was your age. Jesus, right? There's kids like that, and I don't think they could solve it in. I don't think they could solve it in. I mean, I never tried, but I don't think they could solve all of the passage 10 questions in 2 minutes on average. That would be insane. Uh, But never say never. I think it's not impossible. Yeah, it's not impossible. If you have really good science knowledge in particular, if you're just really good at all the sciences, you could have a you could, when you read the passage, you could have a very fine-grained map of the passage because you just know all the concepts anyway. So then when you go to the questions, all you're doing is basically you're just doing a bunch of no-look answers. Like you're doing maybe like five no-look answers and like five one-look answers, and you're just moving on. I guess it's possible. It's just really, really unlikely. Try it, dude. I can't do it, man. I am not that smart anymore. Plus, I don't have that much science in my head. I'm not really a science. I mean, I like science, but I'm not really a science guy. That's not my focus. So when I read the science passages, I'm actually genuinely learning as I'm reading them. Like I'm not. How did my camera turn? Like what happened? But anyway, I'm actually genuinely learning as I'm going. So I just don't have the capacity to. I would not be able to solve 10 questions in 2 minutes for the science ones. Or even for the history ones, because my history knowledge is actually not that good either. I'm learning as I read it, so that definitely slows me down. I peaked in no, I definitely peaked in college. I definitely peaked in college. Yeah. Ever since then, I've just been a drunk bum. A drunk bum crying while reading books and watching movies. A drunk, teary bum. Jobless and miserable. Exactly. That is the life. But hydrate yourself, kids. Get water, get sunlight. You can be a happy, drunk bum, which is what I am. Okay? Um, I am content. To me, I am rich. And to me, I am happy. And that's what matters. Okay. So I'm gonna go. I was gonna read some poetry, but I actually am pretty exhausted. So, guys, it was nice chatting with y'all. If you have more questions, join the server. And it's so annoying. Join the server and ask your questions. And and be a little vulnerable. It's okay. Like it's okay to ask a question and maybe have no one respond to it. At the worst case scenario, I will. In the worst case scenario, I will still answer it a couple days later when I do the Wednesday stream. And so that segs into my next point, which is next announcement, which is that I do these streams twice a week, Wednesday night and Saturday night. So if you have more questions that arise between then, you can actually chat with me Wednesday night, same time. Besides that, if you have ideas for the server, just share your ideas in the Discord server. I'm happy to make quick, low effort improvements. And if you have if you're in an English class, or it doesn't have to be an English class, but if you're in any sort of class and you need to do a reading and you just want to see me do a reaction to the reading, there's a lot of high school readings that I haven't read. So a lot of times it'll be my first time reading the thing, like ever. And I'm happy to put a reaction video on YouTube for you. So, I mean, obviously I can't promise that I'll do your specific text before your specific deadline, but but there's a chance. Last time I did a reaction like literally 2 days after I got my request. So who knows? Depends on my schedule this week, but yeah, maybe I'll be able to. Maybe you can get my reaction before your deadline. So yeah, share those ideas, and I think those are all the major announcements. Guys, keep on. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace.